I can't help but worry that the fraying belts could suddenly snap or one of these girls could get her hands caught in the gears. It doesn't feel safe.
¿Cuánto cuesta para nominar? 25 centavos.
Many of the girls in the Pueblo will never go to school. For them, work is their life. Back at Wendy's home, she slaps the fresh dough into tortillas with Mom and Grandma over a wood hearth. Running water is available every few days at best, and the quality is unhealthy. There's nothing romantic about poverty or the hard life here, but each time I leave, I miss this place and these people. For Boing Boing TV, I'm Xeni Jardin.
Creative Commons is designed to save the world from failed sharing.
Creative Commons license can cover anything that copyright covers.
Every license says you need to give me attribution.
I think I should probably address these Creative Commons ads that we forced you to sit through 4 times. My presentation is not sponsored by Creative Commons. I should get that out of the way. How many people in here know what Creative Commons is? Okay, quite a number of you. So this is another part of the story that I think is important to share with you. As you'll see when the credits are rolling here, every single episode of Boing Boing Video, and in fact, every blog post that has ever appeared on Boing Boing, everything that we do, all of our creative output, is released under a Creative Commons license. It's different than copyright. It allows us to tell our readers, our fans, our viewers, if you'd like to share this for non-commercial purposes, if you'd like to take that video that you just saw and cut up a piece of it and maybe use it in your class, or maybe use it as part of a music video that your band is recording in your backyard garage, you know, if it's not for commercial purposes, it's fine. And if it is for commercial purposes and you are a small business, maybe another business like Boing Boing that isn't giant and doesn't have big budgets, it sort of opens the doors for interesting creative collaborations in those realms as well. I mention this not as a technicality, but as an important architectural factor in our growth. Just as Boing Boing Video, Boing Boing TV, Boing Boing the blog, they're all affected by the fact that this began as a hobby, the fact that this began as a labor of love instead of a business. So too is the nature of our creative output and the nature of our relationship with our audience affected by the fact that we use this Creative Commons license that allows for sharing. So yeah, I don't know if people have questions, but I'd be happy to talk to you a little bit. I'm sorry that I didn't bring other videos beyond that one topic, but I will say one more thing about that. So when I was with National Public Radio and doing weekly technology reports and doing hits for CNN every week as a part of that, one thing that became very frustrating to me after a while was the idea of always having to fight with editors, to fight with network bosses, to fight with the people producing the show to get stories produced that I felt were important. Those conflicts for me usually happened around wanting to go back to Guatemala and dig into something interesting there. Another story that we covered was about the use of forensic technology in identifying the remains of people in mass graves from the Civil War in Guatemala and what that meant, how technology has a role in literally putting the ghosts of the past to rest. Sometimes a big network would say, okay, maybe one of those stories, but you're the tech reporter and you're supposed to be covering technology. We're not that interested in Africa. We're not that interested in Tibet. You know, we're bored with Mexico. Why don't you just cover the new iPhone? It's dehumanizing. And if you are curious about things that don't fit into a business plan, it's really, really demoralizing to be told you cannot pursue those stories. So for me, the very liberating and beautiful thing about what Boing Boing has become is that it shows me that if you can get those stories out there, sometimes the world will tell you, after all, that those stories do matter. Maybe they wouldn't meet the bottom line of one of these very large media companies that began decades ago, right? Began before the internet and are tied to that legacy business model. But those stories matter to the people who see them. And I intend to continue pursuing them and to continue pursuing ways to help people to tell their stories themselves. Maybe next year, when Tijuana Innovadora happens, I will be able to come to you with new material, and hopefully you'll like it.
Le agradecemos nuevamente a la periodista Xeni Jardin por su importante participación en Tijuana Innovadora. Vamos a iniciar en este momento una sesión de preguntas y respuestas. Sabemos que seguramente habrá muchas. Nuestros asistentes muy amablemente se han acomodado ya en ambos lados de la sala de espectáculos con un micrófono para proporcionárselos y hacer las preguntas correspondientes. Para aprovechar este tiempo les vamos a pedir que sean sus preguntas cortas, sencillas y directas. Vámonos al grano para así dar tiempo a más personas a poder hacer las preguntas. Xeni habla inglés, pero entiende muy bien el español, así que no se preocupen, háganle sus preguntas en español. Ella me aseguró que las puede entender perfectamente. ¿Por ahí estaban levantando la mano? Bueno, aquí tenemos la primera pregunta.
Hola, muy buenas tardes, soy Samuel Moreno. Xeni, una pregunta, ¿cuál piensas que es la percepción de Estados Unidos ante Tijuana? Si realmente conocen lo que sucede aquí a un nivel más local, como lo que es pues, toda la historia que tienes con la música punk, con lo que existe también en Tijuana de disqueras independientes, desde lo que era antes de Nortec, 1000 Records, y de lo que sucedía con toda esta música electrónica a principios del 2000. ¿Tienes la idea de que la gente realmente está informada de todo eso, o nada más es un nivel como decir todo lo que existe de maquiladoras en Tijuana y todo ese tipo de desarrollo?
I forgot to mention during the presentation that the last time I was here was far too long ago, but it was for a big Nortec rave that was happening at the bullfighting ring. It was the night before September 11th. It was the best night of my life. All of the great Nortec bands were playing. Was anybody else there? Maybe, probably some of you were there, right? There were all these cool little art installations that were just created for that night in these little niches off of the steps. It was just so cool, and it was of Tijuana. There was a local flavor. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I really, got the religion for Tijuana back then, and I was so proud of myself that I managed to convince one of the editors at one of the big publications I worked for that we're going to run this big feature about all this crazy art and technology and the Nortec music, and then the next morning, 9/11 happened, and understandably, the publications were focused on other things. It made me so happy years later, driving around Los Angeles, to hear some of those bands starting to get played on the big independent radio stations there, and from there to start seeing, just hablando de Nortec, to see some of those bands start to get popularity around America. So what I'm getting at is I feel like that little slice of alternative culture in Tijuana ended up opening doors. Sometimes it's like the music leads and then the rest of the culture follows, because people in America, like they can't really wrap their heads around all of the other interesting and important things that are happening here, but everybody can dance to a good beat. And so with that, they started to see this place as a place where something genuinely new, not just an amalgamation of different parts, but where something truly new that attacks you on an instinctual level as something that's cool. We have a saying like, coolness is like obscenity. It's hard to define, but you know it when you see it. You know it when you feel it. To answer your question more directly, no, I don't think that people in the US right now in 2010 have any idea how awesome of a place Tijuana is and how many bright, smart, intellectual peers they have here. People who are dreaming up interesting things, creating new things with their hands, creating things with music, with technology. We get somewhere between 15 and 17 million page views a month. I intend to do my part to make sure that at least through our blog, they start knowing a little more about that. Part of the reason I was so excited to come here is to see everything myself and to hopefully invite some of you to become guest contributors or to send us your stories so we can shine a light on this awesome stuff here.
Y precisamente ese es el objetivo de Tijuana Innovadora, que la gente que no sabe lo que se hace aquí, lo conozca. Adelante, por favor.
Xeni, primeramente felicidades por Boing Boing.
Pero ¿te podrías poner de pie nomás para que te vean?
Sí.
Gracias.
Gracias. Primeramente felicidades por Boing Boing.
Gracias.
Sabemos que en los últimos años México ha sufrido una transformación de imagen, en los últimos 3, 4 años recientemente por cuestiones de seguridad y todo esto. ¿Cómo visualizas tú como periodista, no solo Tijuana, sino todo lo que es la franja fronteriza, que es lo que más está pegado y la zona de más conflicto social, político, geográfico en relación a Estados Unidos, pero tu visión como periodista?
I'm sorry, is the question which area is the most conflicted?
No.
Si puedes ir por eso más específico.
Sí.
No, ¿cuál es más conflictiva? Not the region is more conflictive. What is your vision? How do you picture from your eyes the situation that has been going on, and how do you picture that after Tijuana Innovadora, something like that?
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's there is no question that there is serious conflict happening along the frontier. There is conflict happening in other parts of the world as well. What seems so unfortunate to me, and what I think it's great that this event is happening, is that seriously, that's all people talk about in the United States when they talk about the frontier. There is no room for innovation and creation and new ideas to even enter the dialogue. The idea of not talking about those very real and very concerning realities, it's silly. Like you can't turn a blind eye to that, and it should be part of the dialogue. But so should all of the other elements in the spectrum that make up everyday life for people here. And I think, again, going back to that idea of creating media where you can chase what interests you. I mean, I use the phrase happy obsession sort of jokingly.